With Stranger Things becoming such a widespread phenomenon in the last few years, a lot of good things have come with it, like a completely new fan base, 3 seasons worth of entertaining adventures and tributes to the 80s, new actors have put a smile on our face, and some even made us shed a tear. But unfortunately, there's almost always some bad that comes with the good, and in this case, there's no exception. With Season 2, there was a lot of hate towards Millie Bobby Brown at one point because people thought she came across as rude and inconsiderate in many of her interviews towards the rest of the cast. Well, in the same fashion, after Season 3 released and 40 million people watched it in the first few days, which is crazy numbers by the way, some hate started to surface around one character in particular. If you lived under a rock since 1984, you may know him as Grigori, but to everyone else, he was the Terminator. Unfortunately, in one of the interviews, the actor Andrey Ivchenko claimed to have received a bunch of hate from the fans for killing off the beloved, slurpee-loving Russian Alexei. This is sad to see. This happens over and over again throughout different fandoms over the years, where a movie or TV show comes out that the fans love and an actor will be playing a character that does something that the fans hate, and for some reason the fans can't differentiate the character in the show from the actor in real life, and they'll actually come after the actor and send them death threats, and in some cases send the actor into a depressive state. Stuff like this needs to end, and I've wanted to address this for a while now. After The Last Jedi came out and Kelly Marie Tran was cyberbullied off of Instagram for playing Rose, I was livid. Star Wars is something I love, it's what I grew up with, and it means so much to me. For me to sit and watch this fandom I'm a part of cyberbully people into solitude breaks my heart, and I just felt like someone needed to say something about this, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I know this isn't the brightest subject to talk about, but hopefully addressing it will eliminate or minimize some of the hate in the future if seen by enough people. So if you're new here, welcome. If you enjoy the video, subscribe and feel free to share this if you think it could help in any way. Make sure you watch until the end of the video because these are real people that are being affected here, and something needs to be said about it. We're going to be going over some of the worst cases of this happening and take a look at what can be done to prevent this in the future. Now, jumping right into it, let's evaluate what happened in Season 3 of Stranger Things to warrant the hate that was directed towards Ivechenko after release. So, as you know, if you've seen my last video on Stranger Things, all of us here in the Stranger Things fandom absolutely fell in love with Alexei this season. The directors did an amazing job at giving this character such a lovable personality and did a great job with his character arc throughout the season. Alexei started off working for the Russians as they tried to figure out how to use the key, that giant laser zappy thing, to open the door to the Upside Down so they could do whatever they're planning on doing with it in Season 4. My guess is weaponizing Demogorgons. But nonetheless, Alexei was eventually captured by Hopper and ends up trying to help Joyce and Hop shut down the giant laser so Joyce's magnets will stick back to her fridge. His childlike personality and fascination with the little things of life really hit home for the fans, and unfortunately, just as he was getting to taste a little bit of what America was really like, he was killed off by one of his own. And just like everyone else, I too shed a little baby tear when I realized what had just happened as everything started to move in slow motion. After his body slumped down, a heavy feeling came over my chest, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. But here's where the fans messed up. Now, I know this isn't everyone, but quite a few fans ended up running to social media to voice their feelings toward Ivchenko's character, Grigori, killing Alexei. These people, for some reason, are writing these hate comments as if they believe that Ivchenko is Grigori in real life. And yes, it's extremely sad that Alexei was killed off, but why on earth would you go after the actor? It's like they lack the discernment of realizing that Ivchenko is not actually Grigori in real life. He's not a hitman for the Soviet Union, and he's not trying to actually help Russians open a portal to a different dimension. If anything, take up your problem with the director. He's just an actor doing what he gets paid to do. There's no reason to send hate to him for doing his job. I mean, this is partially what the Star Wars fandom did after The Last Jedi. People went to social media and voiced their complaints to Rian Johnson for the absolutely horrendous decisions he made regarding Luke's character and many other things, but he just responded like a child and mocked fans and made fun of them and continued to go on saying they're just haters. Every person has a right to their own opinion, and when you take a franchise that so many people love dearly and go against the morals, the spirit of it, and replace the core values of it with your own ideas, opinions, and agendas, those people who have so much emotional and even financial investment into the brand are 100% in the right to voice their opinions with how you're driving it into the ground. In fact, it's their responsibility to keep them in check and make sure they don't do a disservice to the franchise. And if so, then proceed to stop supporting it or voice your opinion where it's needed. And that's exactly what's happening. The fans have seen through the numerous quick cash grabs and hidden agendas that have led Disney's hold over Star Wars for so long now that people have started to boycott Star Wars until they do something right. The only problem is Disney is so big that they can digest these big financial hits much easier than many smaller studios and franchises. Star Wars movies should not be losing money, and for toy sales to be as low as they are is ridiculous. No no one's buying these toys because no one's a fan of these characters that have been changed to push their new agendas and ideas. Now, luckily, the hate coming from the Stranger Things fandom hasn't come anywhere near the amount of hate directed towards some of the Star Wars actors. Ivchenko seems to be pretty understanding and seems to have a little tougher skin, probably because he's an actual robot made of liquid metal sent to Earth to kill John Connor. In fact, he's one of the rare instances where he actually said that there's some positive to the hate, which I think is true even in the more extreme measures we've seen in the Star Wars fandom. He said that he appreciates the negative feedback, all the people saying, "We hate you for killing Alexei," because that means those people are super passionate about the show. Some of them are probably taking it so seriously because they really believe in those characters. And what he's saying is that the people giving the hate are giving it because they're so passionate about the show and this character that they're genuinely mad when he got killed off. In one respect, that's good. The audience being that passionate about your show is always great, and it's awesome he's seeing it in this light and not taking it personally. But at the same time, legitimately being mad at an actor for something a character they played did is completely wrong and out of the question. If you're watching a football play and your team is in a tough spot and the players run a play that their coach told them to run that was a bad choice and they lose the game, you don't get mad at the players, you take it up with the coach if you don't like what he told the players to do. Same thing here, except this player isn't even real. They're just putting on a football play for the school with all actors and no real football players. And people are coming up to them afterwards pissed off that they ran a play they don't think they should have run. Like, for real, I can't believe this is an actual problem we have to deal with today. And when you have a good director or a good coach, they'll listen to what the fans that's supporting them have to say and what they think about how they're doing their job. Now, that's not saying they have to listen, but they should baseline be a decent human being and listen to what they have to say with respect purely since they're the ones allowing them to do what they're doing. Unfortunately, it's not like this with Star Wars. I've seen it happen with Marvel, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and even Fortnite. But with Star Wars, it just seems like the corporate side of things is just so far disconnected from the true fans that it seems like they're almost intentionally trying to piss them off. And if Disney would just hire a person like Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel, to run the Star Wars franchise who actually cared and had a coherent plan and was an actual fan of it themselves, we'd be golden. But instead we have someone running the show giving all of our friends jobs and movie deals instead of doing what's best for the brand. I don't know in what universe anyone thought Rian Johnson should be blindly entrusted with the 8th Star Wars movie. And before any of this even happened, why would you not know the full story beforehand rather than just letting each director tell a third of the story without knowing the middle or ending to it? The entire Lord of the Rings trilogy was all shot within a little over a year. Yes, all 3 movies, the entire story, shot at once. And they came out great, and people are still diehard fans of it to this day. At the very least, why would they not make a coherent story where they knew the beginning, middle, and end? They let JJ tell the beginning of the story, and then Rian Johnson came in and was like, nope, I didn't like that. I'm going to erase everything he said was true, and he did an awful job at telling the middle, and now JJ has to try to tie the knot on the entire 3 trilogies by piecing together the few bits Rian Johnson left him with, as well as undo the bad Johnson did and follow up with the story elements he made when he started. The fans put their foot down and took it up with the director, and you know what happened? He made fun of the fans and they gave him a contract to make 3 more movies. What the heck? What is going on here? Is no one using common sense over there? They've tried to blame the low sales and underwhelming numbers on Star Wars fatigue. Yes, in quotation marks, because we all know that's bullcrap. Look at Marvel. They just released 20-something movies in just 10 years. Are you kidding me? And if anything, everyone wants more. The Star Wars fans are not fatigued. They're fed up with the lack of care and disservice of what they're doing to what the brand was built on. Now, unfortunately, just like Stranger Things fans lashed out, the Star Wars fans have done that recently to Kelly Marie Tran, which I'm sure you remember. This wasn't too long ago, but after The Last Jedi came out, some of the toxic fans started showing hate towards the actor for her portrayal of Rose Tico, which objectively was an awful character in the story, but by no means should Tran have received any hate for it. She was, again, just doing what she was paid to do. For any of us, it would be a dream to be in a Star Wars movie, and I'm sure it was for her too. But she was cyberbullied so badly, she was forced to leave social media and just about completely gave up. The same thing happened with Ahmed Best, the actor who played Jar Jar Binks in Episode 1. After the movie came out, he got so much hate for the character he played, he went into a depressive, isolated state and almost gave up on everything too. The poor kid that played Anakin, Jake Lloyd, got bullied throughout his entirety of school, and it ended his acting career completely. And this makes me most sad of all. This was the cutest, happiest little kid. In Jingle All the Way, I love seeing him with that huge smile on his face. He's such a cute kid, and I can't believe people would actually hate on him because of a fake character he played. Jake Lloyd is a real person. Ahmed Best is a real person. Kelly Marie Tran is a real person. Andrey Ivchenko is a real person. But these people are bullying them over fictional characters. For real? I mean, I love the character just as much as the next guy, but where's the humanity? Where's the common sense? It's not worth making the guy go through therapy for the rest of his life. Shockingly enough, the same thing happened to Hayden Christensen. After Star Wars, he left acting and became a carpenter, moved out to the farm and lived with his family. Like, are you kidding me? The fans are responsible for this? I mean, after all the hate on the prequels, George Lucas just said screw it and sold the whole thing to Disney. He was tired of dealing with it. Now, by no means is the fandom all bad. The fans have also brought a lot of good about. It's just that these fan bases of movies and TV shows have a very influential voice that can be used for either good or bad. And I just don't see any substantial reasoning to attack an actor for portraying a character he's supposed to be playing. There's always going to be trolls and haters, but if we could just raise awareness about this and hopefully just remind people to use common sense, it'd be nice to see a decrease in fan bases ruining actors' careers and lives. At Star Wars Celebration this year, when Kelly Marie Tran came on stage for the first time since she was bullied off the internet, thousands of fans erupted into applause and gave her a long and deserved standing ovation. The same happened when Ahmed Best came on stage too, and I gotta say this really warmed my heart. Seeing that, in the midst of all the hate, that the good and positive could still shine through, really showed me that there's still hope for us yet. I appreciate you guys listening to what I had to say. I didn't mean to go too off topic, but I've just been wanting to talk about this since The Last Jedi, and I'm glad I finally did. I don't know how big a difference this video will make. I know it's not going to change things overnight, but I just hope that the people that need to see it, and there's at least one person that stops spreading hate because of it. That alone would make me really happy. That's all I want. You guys can subscribe if you want to. Just thanks for listening to what I had to say. I really appreciate it. Please go to the comments and tell me what your thoughts on this are. And as always, I appreciate the support. I just got back from that little cruise with my family for a week, and I gotta say, I really needed that break. Not having to worry about anything was so nice for a little bit, and everything was so beautiful. I got to travel out of the country for the first time and visit the Dominican Republic and got to play with some cute little monkeys. And then I got to visit the Virgin Islands for a day, and then got to explore Puerto Rico and stumbled across a political protest/revolution that I may have joined in on. We overthrew the governor and then spent the day exploring Grand Turk and swimming in the bluest water I've ever seen. I'm just really super grateful I can make these videos and still live my life and enjoy time with my family. But I'm gonna be leaving in 3 days for a short trip to the Keys with some friends for 5 days, so I'm literally working on the next video as you're watching this right now and probably not getting enough sleep at the moment, but hey, you guys make it all worth it. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next week with another video, but until then, I will see you in the comments. Peace.